Thank you. Yesterday, we stood under this same sky, a nation bound by a common grief. We performed a ritual of remembrance for a man who made the ultimate sacrifice for his country. But what do we remember? What precisely is the story we tell ourselves about this sacrifice? He did not die for a person. He did not give his life for his family, though he loved them. He did not fall defending his home, though it was dear to him. He died for an abstract concept, for a vast, impersonal, and insatiable machine. He died for the state, for its borders, for its laws, for its cold, geometric idea of order. He died for the bedrock of a civilization that demands such sacrifices as its price of admission. And yet, even as we laid him to rest, a truth haunts the edges of this ceremony. A corrosive institutional poison dressed up in patriotic regalia that seeks to sanctify the very mechanism of his demise. I'm referring to a certain strain of thinking taught to us from birth. Let's call it the dogma of the fortress, for it insists that human life can only have meaning inside walls. This belief, which is the very foundation of this ceremony, purports to be the end of history. What it truly is a metaphysical assault on the very idea of freedom, a blueprint for the permanent subjugation of the human spirit. It tells you that history is a straight line, an arrow's flight from the chaos of the tribe to the order of the nation. It claims our ancestors were miserable, brutish, and desperate, living in a constant state of fear until they wisely surrendered their liberty to a king, a flag, a bureaucracy. It teaches that the state was not a trap, but a glorious salvation we brilliantly engineered. Do you see the seduction? Do you see the poison in the honey? They want you to believe that your natural state is submission. They want you to believe that freedom is chaos, that self-determination is danger, and that the only noble calling is to be a cog in their great machine. This is not a history. It is an alibi for endless war. It is the intellectual groundwork for the surveillance state. It is the academic justification for sending our best and bravest to die on distant lines in the sand. Because if the state is the only legitimate form of human organization, if it is a sacred and singular achievement, then anything is justified in its defense. Any price can be paid. Any number of caskets can be draped in flags. The soldier we honored yesterday did not die to protect you. He died to protect the system. That magnificent, world-altering invention that brought us the tax collector, that brought us the draft, that lifted the yoke of the tribe from our shoulders, only to replace it with the iron harness of the state. This end of history, in fact, is the end of humanity. They condemn the hunter-gatherer bands who consciously chose not to build permanent kingdoms. They frame this as a failure of imagination, a surrender to entropy. What it was a heroic act of preserving freedom. It was a refusal to build their own cages. Civilization is not a citadel we built. It was a trap we fell into. It was built through coercion, through surveillance, through the painful but systematic subordination of the free individual to the cold logic of the collective. It was built by men who did not want to play at being leaders, but who lusted for the terrible and corrupting burden of permanent command. to stand at this memorial, to see this folded flag, to hear the rifle salute echoing in the silence, and then to consider the human cost of this grand abstraction, is to understand the two opposing forces in our world. On one hand, the free man, a creature of conviction, of loyalty to kin, of unyielding independence, a man who understood that family, community, and liberty are the only things that are real. On the other hand, the system, celebrating obedience, romanticizing sacrifice for the state, and telling you that the entire history of human freedom was a cosmic mistake. It wants to dissolve the individual back into the primordial soup of the collective from which he emerged. They are telling you that the man we buried yesterday died a noble death protecting his cage. I am here to tell you he died rattling its bars. This is the battle we are in. It is not just a battle of policy, it is a battle of cosmology, a war of bedrock. They are trying to steal our future by enslaving us to a false, sanitized past. They are telling you that your ancestors were helpless subjects, so that you too will submit without question. We will not let them. We will honor that soldier not with memorials of stone, but with a fierce and unyielding defense of the individual freedom that the state took from him. The freedom built on choice, not coercion, on consent, not command, on the undeniable destiny of the free human spirit. Thank you.